Okay, geweldig. Yeah, so yesterday the Gemara was going through. Yesterday the Gemara was going through the Shum Kesef, Shova Kesef. We went through. We went through Nechasim. We did Shum Kesef. We did Shova Kesef. We did B'fnei Bezdin, and we just finished B'nei Chayin and B'nei Bris. So now we are up to. Now we are up to the next line in the Mishnah, Vanoshim Bechlal HaNezek. Now today, if I'm not mistaken, is Tuesday was Aleph Kislev, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or Monday was Aleph Kislev. Tuesday was Aleph Kislev. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, today's Dalet Kislev.
One of my best friends' birthdays.
One of what?
One of my best friend's birthdays.
Gewaltig.
I have to call him.
So today, so your side, whose your side was it today? It's the death of the Rebbe's? No, it's not. It's the Mashah is tomorrow. The Mashah is tomorrow. Okay, gewaltig.
No, on the Mashu's door, it says,
Right.
it was Sarapusik, that Bachitz Layul Unzar, something like that, that he was always open. And
by day door,
also
what was that?
Well, Bachitz Layul is some kind of pusik, and from Nach, Bachitz Layul Unzar, something like that. Look it up.
Okay. Because let's see the Heilige Gemara right there. Vanoshim bechlal hanezek. That's what the Mishnah says. So vos made us minohan amili. So vanoshim bechlal hanezek pashas means that a woman is subject to all the halachos of nezikin. So if she damages, she has to pay, and if she gets damaged, then she gets paid. So, frankly, when we know Hanamili, where do we know that a woman is Vitaris Nazika? Zog to Gemara, Minan Amili, Omer Yehuda Rav, V'chein Tanid Ve'im Shmo, Omar Kro, Ish or Isha, Kiyasu Mikol Chatois, and the pasuk that it brings down is Kiyasu Mikol Chatois Adam, Limoel Mal Bashem, and that pasuk is referring to Hashem Elois, Hashem Gzelois. It's saying a woman is mechuyev in the oinchin and the chiyuvim of the Torah. Zok the Gemara, Hishva Isha Leish l'chol oinchin shebetorah. From here you see that the Torah is medama an Isha to an Ish for all oinchin. The Ve'er Losatana. Ve'ela hamishpatim hashertosim lefneim in front of all Yidden hishva kosev isha leish l'chol dinim shebetorah. That's how you know that a woman is concluded in all dinim omenes, which is really what we're looking for here, because we're looking that a woman is mechuyev in nezika. And then we had a third pasuk, v'chitzkiya v'Rabbi Yosy glitana omerkra v'hemis ish or isha. This is talking about an animal that kills an isha, the bailam has to pay kofer. So Zok Gemara, Hishva kosev isha lish l'chol misa shebetorah. And l'chol misa shebetorah doesn't mean that they'll be mechuyev misa if they do an avera. It's mechayev misa. That's already included in oinchin. This means if you kill an isha, you will have the same halacha as if you killed an ish, and there would be a chiv kofer. Zok Gemara v'tzrichi. The Torah needed to tell us in all three places that an Isha is included. The Ashminin Kamaisa, if we only had the pasuk of Oinchin, then I wouldn't necessarily know anything else. The Ashminin Kamaisa, when it comes to Oinchin, the Torah wants her to have Oinchin because the Torah has Rachmanis on it. The
first one is Karbonis, not Anshin, right?
I'm sorry?
The first one is Karbonis.
but it refers to all it refers to all einshim, um, because it's talking primarily about a woman getting a kapara. So sometimes the kapara, if it's a shogeg, the kapara could be achieved through a carbon, but sometimes the kapara needs to be achieved through einshim. Once we learn that they have access to one kapara, we assume that they'll have access to all the kaparas.
Yossi, just one sec. Your voice has a small echo. It's like you're speaking from far away.
Okay, so let me change the settings here.
Right. Huh? No, not too bad. It's a little better.
Yeah, how about now? Did it change? Did it change, or is it the same as it was before?
Oh, no, it's a little better.
Okay,
Good.
I changed the setting. Okay, so Zok to Gemara weiter. So Utricha, the Ashmin Kamai said, if I only knew Einshim, Hasamu the Chas Rachman Allah. Rachman is on her Allah. Yechid have a kapara. Aval dinin. Maybe when it comes to dinim amanis, maybe it shouldn't apply to women. Ish the bar masu mata and in. A man who's normally the one that's engaged in business, he's subject to the dinim of Cheshem Mishpat in the Torah. But Isha, loy, because a woman normally is not engaged in business. V'yashmin and dinim, and if we only knew that Hilchas Mominus Choshen Mishpat applies to women, then I would have said, you know why she's Mechiv and Dinin? It's because otherwise it would be impossible to do business with her. If she wasn't prohibited from doing Oino and Ksela, she would take advantage of people. And vice versa. People would take advantage of her. In order that she should be able to survive in the business world, all of the halachas of business of Choshen Mishpat have to apply to her. Aval Kapara, but when it comes to kapara, maybe ish the bar mitzvah in. A man who's mechuyev in all mitzvahs, for him we're worried that he should get a kapara. But isha, the lav bas mitzvah, a woman who's not mechuyev in all mitzvahs, like maybe we're not concerned that she should have a kapara. V'yash minan hanatarti, and if we know sai dina momentus and sai dina kapara, hacham mishum kapara, hacham mishum chiyusa. Avalin katla, the gabi punishing someone who kills her. Ish bar mitzvah, a man who does mitzvahs. So therefore, if your ox kills him, you really cause a big damage because now his mitzvahs aren't being done because he's not here anymore. L'shalom kofer, he'll pay kofer. But ish aloi, a woman who's not muchiv in mitzvahs, maybe if she dies, you don't have to pay kofer for her. So you need the pasuk of mitzvah as well. Yashmin and kofer, the ika ibn neshama. And if you only had the pasuk of kofer, I would have said, yeah, sure, you pay kofer for her. So there's a loss of life. Of course, we're going to include even her. Avalhani, but moment is an unjim. The leka ibn neshama emaloi tzricha. So that's why we need a pasuk 3 different places to tell us that a woman is equal to a man for all halacha shabbatai.
Yossi, it's a beferishing gemara, the lab bas mitzvah. You don't make a big bas mitzvah for your daughter.
Oh,
very good.
Very good. Okay, Nezek by Nezek b'tashlumin. Now we know that if the Nezek damages, the Nezek does tashlumin. How is the Nezek paying? Zok to Gemara, Itmar, Palganisko. There's a halacha if a shor shtoishes the first 2 times, he only pays Chatzi Nezek. Is that a Knas or is that Mom? A Papa or Mamona? A Papa holds you mechuyev meikar didn't pay. It's not a Knas. Rav Huna Barei B'Shua Omer Knas. He holds it's only a Knas. Rav Papa Omer Momena. Rav Papa holds it's a moment because Be'etim you should have known to watch your ox. Because over Stam Shvarim Lav B'Cheska Shimerkan. All Shvarim are assumed that if you don't watch them carefully, they'll do the damage of Keren. And therefore, Uvedinhu, the Boile Shlumi Kule. Maker, then really you're liable for the full damages, Nezek Shalei. For Achmanu the Chasale, the Torah has Achmanis on the Mazik. Why? The Akati loy Ayature. Since his ox didn't become a mood yet, the Torah has Achmanis. The Torah has Achmanis. But whatever he is paying, the Chatinit that he's paying, that's Momina. He got off easy. He didn't have to pay all the money, but whatever he paid, he's surely mechuyev. Rav Huna Reb Yeshua Amar, no, Knasa, Mikra Din, a person shouldn't have to pay anything at all. The Ikra Din, Knasa. However, Kosover Stam Shvarm, Becheska Shimer Kaim. Normally, we assume an animal who didn't shtois yet is not going to shtois. So he's Becheska Shimer. So there's no liability on behalf of the mazik. He didn't do anything wrong because he didn't neglect to watch his ox from shtoising. It's not something that happens. And therefore, within who, the Lolishim Klal, really, he should be potter completely. He shouldn't pay anything at all. For Achmana who the Kanse, but the Torah merely gave him a Knas to pay Chati Nezek. Why? Kihecha the lintere luture. So he should even be more careful than typical to watch his ox. So here's our machlokes: is Chati Nezek payment mominous, but he got off easy, or is Chati Nezek a Knas because he should never have been mechuyev in anything at all? Zok to Gemara. Let's bring a right from our Mishnah. Tanan hanizek v'mazik with the shlumin. Not only is the mazik paying, the nizik is also contributing to his payment. Frankly, Gemara, if you hold palganiska mamada, then it makes perfect sense where the nizik is chipping in. Why? Because I'm not paying the nizik in full. Torah says you don't have to pay the full mamdas. You only have to pay half, meaning the nizik is also shouldering part of the burden of the payment. Hainu the shaykh nizik with the shlumin. Elamanda Amar palganiska knasa. If you hold Chati Nezek as a Knas, which means Meikadin, I owe nothing at all. Hashta, the Lavdi De Shakel. The Nezek is Torah is giving the Nezek Chati Nezek that he's not even entitled to. But Tashlumin, he say, that's what you call he is shouldering the burden of the payment. He got a windfall. The Chati Nezek is not even owing to him, and the Torah is Mechayiv the Mazak to pay. Where is it that the Nezek is chipping in? If you all palganiska knasa, where do you see that the nizik is chipping in? So the Gemara, we learned earlier that once the animal is killed, at that moment we assess the value of the nevela, and the mazik only has to pay the remaining amount, the amount that the ox at its death, its value had been diminished because of it got killed. However, once it starts to drop further, the nizik eats that. So the fact that the Nezek is going to lose money, even from the Chatzi Nezek that was awarded to him, if the value of the damaged animal dies, we consider that the Nezek is also involved in shouldering the burden of the payment. Frank Gemara, Pras Nevela, why is the Mishnah here telling us the halacha of Pras Nevela, L'Nezek? That's what it means. Va mazik va nizik v'tashlumin hatanil areisha. We already learned this halacha of pras nevela in the first Mishnah, because the Gemara said earlier that when it says tashlumin nizik, milamet shabayim v'taplim nevela. So the first Mishnah already teaches us that the nizik has to deal with the dead animal. Zaktimar, you know what? We need the Mishnah to tell us the same halacha twice. Why? Yes.
Sorry. It's not only when we say Chas Nevela, that's not Tashlumin. He's not. It's value. It's not. He's not. There's no payment.
Yeah, he's not really making a payment. Is what you're saying.
Right. Yes.
If you look at Tosfos in the wide lines, the second Tosfos in the wide lines, where Tosfos says Lo Yinitzcha Ella LePras Nevela, so Tosfos asks your kasha. Whatever he's getting is bonus. So because he has to deduct the value of his nevela, he's still a bonus. Once the Torah has already awarded him Chati Nezek, so now we look at it from a different perspective. He is somewhat reducing the Chati Nezek, Masha Pras Nevela alone. Well, you can't tell the mazik, karna the turach kvirbe. Your horn is buried in my dead animal. That's a tiny that the Gemara discusses later, meaning you deal with the animal. His horn is still there. So you're right. It's not really him chipping in, but the Gemara feels it's enough of a absorption that we could at least justify the words of the Mishnah where it says Vanizik Vamasak B'Teshlumin. So the Gemara says Pchat Nevela Tanel Reisha. Teshlumin Nezek Melamid Shabayim on top of the Benevela. So tomorrow Chada B'Tam V'Chada B'Mud. One Mishnah is talking about a short tam, and one Mishnah is talking about a short mud. And you actually need the Mishnah to tell us both by a tam and by a mud that the Nezek is responsible for the nevela, u'tzricha. Yashmin and tam mishum dakati lo yayit. Maybe dafka by a tam, where the animal didn't become a mud yet. So yes, there's a knas that he pays Chatzi Nezek, but we go easy on him. We say that the mazik doesn't have to deal with the nevela. Al mud, where the owner is of the perpetrating ox, he should have known better. This animal is already a mud. Maybe then we'll even make the mazik have to deal with the nevela. That's why we have to say even by a mazik, the pras nevela is ten Nezek. And if we only had a mishnah by muad, mishum de kamishalim kulei, we'll say, listen, he's paying the whole amount, so we'll go easy on him. We'll at least give him some relief, and we'll force the Nezek to deal with the nevela. Avol tam, but if it's a short tam, where as it is the mazik's getting a good deal, emaloi. Maybe the mazik would have to deal with the nevela. Tricha. So that's why the Mishnah told us two times. Okay, so now we have this machlokes, is Chatzi Nezek Knas, or is Chatzi Nezek Mammon, and the Gemara is going to ask kashas to try to prove one direction or the other. Tashma. Ma bein tam l'mud. What is the difference between a tam and a mud? Shatam mishalam Chatzi Nezek migufay. A tam pays Chatzi Nezek migufay. So it's not only Chatzi Nezek, but the amount of money that the mazik has to pay is limited to the maximum value of the animal that he has that perpetrated the crime. Umud mishalim nezek shalim in aliyah. If you're sharmu the damage, you have to pay the full damages, even if the damage is worth far more than your ox is worth. You're mechuyev to pay. Frek the Gemara, ve'im isa. If you hold that Chatzi Nezek is a knas, listening nami, it should have listed another difference between tam and muad. We learned yesterday that by knas, there's halacha of moed knas potter. So why isn't that also listed as a difference between tam and muad if you hold Chatzi Nezek as a knas? And according to tam, einim mishalim al piatzmai, if the owner of the ox is moed invested that his ox shtoist, if it's a knas, he doesn't pay. And muad mishalim al piatzmai. So you have arrived from the fact that this brisa omitted this difference between tam and muad. It must be that the Tan holds Chatzi Nezek is mo. No, really, this brisa holds Chatzi Nezek is knas. So why didn't it list off as an additional difference between tam and muad the fact that the tam who pays Chatzi Nezek cannot pay al piatzmai? So the more ton of a shire. The Tana is not always presenting a conclusive list. The Tana is allowed to omit some items from the list. Frank Gemara, my shire, the high shire. What else did the Tana leave over? Because normally a Tana will not just omit one item; he'll omit at least two items. So what else did the Mishnah omit? What other difference could the Tana have offered between tam and mud? We know that a shar muad that kills a person, the bailam has to pay kaifer. So the logic, since we know as a given that the tam always pays chatzi, so the norm would have been that the tam pays chatzi kaifer. But in fact, this Tana holds that a short tam that does damage is putter completely from kaifer. So maybe that's what our Mishnah is leaving out. So now let's stop a minute. From the fact that the Gemara found a different shear of Chatzi Kofer, so now that supports the mandam who holds Chatzi Nezek Knosu, because you have two things that were left over. You have Mishalom Al Pi Atzmoi, and you have Chatzi Kofer. The problem is, now the mandam holds Chatzi Nezek Mamanahu, now he only has one item that the Tana left out, and that will be Chatzi Kofer. Zogt Gemara that the Tana who holds Chatzi Nezek Mamana holds that the Tana didn't leave out Chatzi Kofer either. Imishum Chatzi Kofer lav shiurim. That's not called leaving anything over. Hamani Rabbi Yosy Aglili, the Omar Tam Mishalom Chatzi Kofer. It goes according to Rabbi Yosy Aglili that a Tam does pay Chatzi Kofer. And the Rishonim speak out, Rashi and Tosfos, that you didn't need the Mishnah to list off that by Mood you pay Kofer Sholin and Tam Chatzi Kofer, because we've already said that a Mood pays Nezek Sholin and the Tam pays Chatzi Nezek, so it's logical that that would carry through to Kofer. Beautiful. So now we're going to try a different raya. Tashma. Again, we want to know, is Chatzi Nezek Mamana or is Chatzi Nezek Knas? So let me turn the daf over. To daf Tezvalim at base. Tashma. Hamish Shoiri is playing. Someone came in to Bezdin and was moida without Adim that my shore killed somebody, Oy Shoiri shall play, or my shore killed someone's ox. The halach is Hareza Mishalim al Piatzim. He pays even though there's no Adim. Frek Gemara. My lab v'tam. Let's suggest that it's even speaking about a tam. And if that's the case, it says that he pays al piatzmai, even by a tam. So that's a raya that Chatzi Nezek Mamanu. Zok Morloi b'muad. It's speaking about a mood. Really, Chatzi Nezek Knasa. And if a tam, the owner of a short tam came in and was moided at his ox choice, he would be potter. This brisa is speaking about a short mood. So aval tam. If this is only speaking about a short mood, let's work our way backwards. So what would be the halacha then by a tam? Aval tam mai. So then you're going to agree with me that by a short tam, Moidu Knas Potter, he wouldn't pay. So let's go to the next halacha that this same brisa quotes. At the Tani Seifa, the next part of the brisa says, "Hey Mishari is Avdi. My shor, hey Mishari is Avdoi Shalplani. My shor killed Reuven's Evet. That's for sure Knas. Shloishim Shal Evet is a Knas. Voshteitar ein mishalom al piatzmai." Freak the Gemara. Why did the Brisa need to seek out a different type of case where we're talking about shtoising an evet? Why didn't we stick to the same subject matter of shtoising an ox, which is what the ratio of the Brisa is talking about? Live like velisli b'didei. Where do you say that you're mishalom al piatzmai b'muhid? That's if your shor is a muhid. If your shor was a tam, so why did the Brisa decide to go to a case of Eved if the Brisa could have stuck to a much closer case to a case of tam? And for the Gemara, because Kula b'mud kamari, the Tana is not discussing tams. The Tana is only talking about muads, and the Tana is trying to tell us that some muads will pay al piatzmoi, such as damages, and some muads will not pay al piatzmoi, such as if a Sharmud killed an Evet. Tashma. Try another raya. Zehakla. This is the rule when you want to be able to know if something's a Knas or if something's a Momina. This is a perfect litmus test. Kolam Shalom Yosy Machizik. Whenever you're paying more than what the damages are, that's for sure a Knas. And therefore, Einim Shalom Al Piaz. So let's be medayik from the Lashon of Brisa. My love. The only time it's a knas if you're paying more than the damages, but if you're paying less than the damages, such as Chatzi Nezek, that is not a knas. It's moment. So you have a raya that Chatzi Nezek is moment because the only thing that's knas is someone who pays more than the damages. Zokt Morloi. Hakamosha Hizik Mishalom. Avapachas my Hachanami Deloy Mishalim. So what the Gemara is saying is, it says Zakla Kol Hamishalim Yosy Mash Izik. That's called a Knas. So Zok the Gemara, you know how you should be medayik that? You should medayik someone who pays exactly what his damages are. That's mammon. Not to exclude less. Less could also be a Knas. In fact, the Gemara, is that so? You want to say that if your chiv to pay is less than the damages, the loy mishalom al piyatzmai, that's also considered a Knas. Yachi adatani kol mishalom yoser mashizik ein mishalom al piyatzmai. Listening zaklal kol she'ein mishalom kamashizik. Why did the Brisa say that the litmus test is, did you pay more than your damages? That's not quite accurate. What the litmus test should have been was, do you pay exactly the same amount as your damages? That's what the litmus test should be. Because what you're saying is whether or not you pay more than the damage or whether you pay less than the damage, either way, it's still going to be a Knas unless you're paying exactly what the damages are. So listen to Zaklau, Kol Shein Mishalom Kamosh Ezek, the Mashma Pachas, Mashma Yoser. If you're not paying the right amount, it's either too much or too little, that would all be a Knas. And it doesn't say that. The Gemara Tiyufta. In fact,
I have a problem with this.
I'm sorry?
I have a problem with this. Because
let me
even
just finish the sentence. The Mandama holds that Chatzi Nezek is Knasa is abgeschlossen because the Brisa says that it's only Knas if you pay more. So what are you asking?
Really, even when you do pay Mishalom Mumen or Knas, whatever, it's not Mishalom Hashehizik because you always have also the Pchas Nevaile. So you're actually not even when you are paying Mashehizik, you're not paying because you made more damage that you're actually paying, right? Taka, the second that you mazik, that's what he's paying. But the master, he always loses because he has the Pchas problem.
First of all, the Nezek,
so maybe that's why
the Nezek can process the animal right away, and he won't have to lose. So you can still say that I don't think the fact that the Nezek has to deal with the Pchas Nevela, I don't think that means he's not paying his full damage. When you assess the damage, you assess it based on how much the value of his ox got worth less. And you assess it at the time they did the damage. There's a good argument to say that would be logical, and therefore that would be nominal. But I hear what you're saying. So Zok the Gemara very
listen, what the Torah says, that's the rule. But the master to put the mission,
I hear.
That's why yours. Okay.
I hear what you're saying. I hear it, but you see from the Gemara is considering that
stronger because it's a Helchis.
Okay. So Zok the Gemara, we just slugged up the Shita who hold Chatzi Nezek Knas. And as soon as we slug it up, what does the Gemara say? We just slugged it up, and now we're passing like that. You slug it up and then you're passing like it? Zok the Gemara in, because we have a good teretz to the upslag. Time of my habatiyuf. Why was it Augustlag? Because you had a taina, mishum the loikatani kemoshes. It didn't say kemoshes to meet. In other words, to say that even if the tashlumin is less than the full tashlumin, that also makes it knas. You know why the taina didn't want to say that? Because loipsikale. Because there's a case where someone pays less than nezek shalem, and it's considered momina. What's the example of that? Kivan di ki chatzi nezek tzoros. There's a halacha of chatzi nezek tzoros. It's a halacha l'Moshe Messinai that if your animal is a regel, so it's a sharamuit, and it shoots up a stone and damages someone's keli, you're chayiv to pay chatzi nezek, but that's not a knas. It's momina. The hilchos of gemirla the mominu. We have a halacha l'Moshe Messinai that there's such a payment of chatzi nezek of tzoros, and it's not knas, it's momina. So the Tana didn't want to say anytime you don't pay the exact amount of your damages, it's automatically knas, because that would be mashma that chatzi nezek tzoros is also knas. So that's why it only said if you pay more than what the damages is, that's when you have a right that it's a knas. So Zok the Gemara. Now it's fascinating. Yes?
Why doesn't the Gemara just give that answer before it says tiyufta? It's not a tiyufta. No, seriously.
I don't know.
Tiyufta.
That's a very good question.
And then ask this question, and then it gives, no, it's not a tiyufta because we have this answer. We'll just give the answer in the first place and then say the whole
That's a very good question. Is it possible to say that there was a conversation, someone asked this kasha, and they didn't have a teretz, so they gave up. And then later on, the Rosh Shiva came in and paskind Knas. So they asked Rosh Shiva, we had a conversation. So Rosh Shiva said, you didn't think about it good enough. Maybe there's an answer. Does the Arshbro say anything?
It proves what you said, that Afilamat Akasha Faruf Kevin Shalom does, because Shalom about Akasha mind says it's real.
I hear. So now that Chatzi Nezek is Knas, we have a very interesting twist. The Hachid Amrid, Paul Geniska Knasa. Now that we said Chatzi Nezek is a Knas, Hai Kalbo, the Ochal Imri, a dog that ate up a goat. The Shunra, or a Shunra is a cat, the Ochal Tarnagoyla, Mishunahu. That's a very unusual thing. These animals, a dog normally doesn't eat a goat, and a cat normally does not eat a chicken. Since it's Mishuna, it's Karen, and therefore the tashlumin for it is going to be a Knas, v'loy magvinon b'Bava, and you're not going to Knas and Bava. So in Bavel, if one of these damages occurred, there's no way to, you can't mon him in Bavel to pay. The Hanan Mili Biraver, that's only if these are very big. It's a big chicken, which is a cat would normally not eat, or if it's a big goat, which a dog would normally not eat. Then it's Karen, and it's a chiv of Knas, and therefore you cannot mon it above. However, Aval Bazutri, but if they were small, which means these are things that it's normal for a cat and a dog to eat, so that would be more shame. Urchehu, that is the derech for the animal, and therefore it would be shame. It would be shame. It wouldn't be Karen at all, and therefore it would be mominous.
Or a German Shepherd or a Rottweiler. That's always...
We're gonna get to that. The tafas even though it's Knas in the case where it was Karen, if the Nezek seized, and Toshva says you can't seize any nechasim with a mazik, you can seize the dog that did the damage. The only thing that the Nezek is allowed to seize is the actual thing that did the damage. So vim tafas, if you are tafas it, even though it didn't Knasis, and then done didn't Knasis b'Babel, we'll let the Nezek hold on to what he seized. And the Amr Chavul Zimna does Lina La'ardi Yisrael. What if the Nezek says, yes, correct, I can't take you to Bezdin here because they won't be done Dina Knossos, but I'm summoning you to Bezdin in Eretz Yisrael where they could. Now today you can't do that because you don't have Sanhedrin in Eretz Yisrael either. But in the time where you did have, if you summoned them to Eretz Yisrael, Kavinala, you forced the Mazik to attend Bezdin in Eretz Yisrael. The Eloi Ozil, and if he refuses to go, Mishamtinanai will put him into Cher. But the truth is, someone who had a dog who ate up someone's goat, anyway, you put him into Cher. Uvenkach Mishamtinanai, because he's harboring a dangerous menace in his house, this dog. Ad the Misalakazek. We put him into Cher until he eliminates this wild dog, Rashi Shihargim. He's got to kill it, because he has a dangerous thing running around in his property. Midir Abnosan. The Tanya Abnosan Oimer Minayin Shlo Yigadol Odom Kelav Ra. How do you know that you're not allowed to raise a menace in your house, like a dangerous dog? So you can't have a Rottweiler in your house. The Al Yamid Tzulam Ru'u B'Soich Beisai. And you're not allowed to have a damaged ladder. Talmud Loimer V'Loi Sosim Domim B'Veisecha. You shouldn't have blood in your house. I was Makayim this mitzvah this week, because one of my goyim took a picture of his ladder and sent it to me, and it looked like it was bent a little bit. And I told him, throw it in the garbage right away and go to Canadian Tire because it's on sale and buy a new ladder. So that was mamash. That's mamash kids. I don't want my goyim to use a bent ladder. What's that?
Only because it was on sale?
No, that's why we went to Canadian Tire. Geweldig. Okay, so let's have a look.
It would cost you more if it would fall.
That's right. That's right. Okay, so let's learn this Tosfos because Tosfos shows us a very interesting twist. The Hashim the Amrit, Pal Geniska Knasa. Nira, the Dafka Laman the Amar, Pal Geniska Knasa. Of course, this is only if Chatzi Nezek is a Knas, do we say he cannot mun it in Bavel because Betin doesn't do it. Avalaman the Amar, Pal Geniska Mamana. If you hold Chatzi Nezek is Mamin, Loy Mechayiv Klau. He'll be pottering Gansen. If you have a dog that eats up a goat, the other is pottering Gansen. Why? The Mehei Tesi. Why in the world should you have to pay? The Mikaren Layasya, you can't learn it out of Karen. Why? The Karen Urchehu. The Stam Shvarim La B'ches Kashira kind. According to the Mandama who holds that Karen is Mamana, that means it's not a Knas. Why is it not a Knas? Because Stam Shvarim are La B'ches Kashira kind. But V'hai Meshunahu, the Lavorcha the Kalbo, L'mechel Imir. So this is not even as bad as Karen. Karen, you pay if it's Mamana because you should have watched your animal. Stam Shvarim aren't B'ches Kashira. But a small dog eating a big goat, that's for sure not to there. So there for sure there wouldn't be a din of Karen of Mamana. And therefore, if I'm a Shunahu, the Lav Orche, the Kabbalah Mechel Imir, which means there's no chiyah for that at all. Bishlam, if you hold Chatzi as a Knasa, it comes at a big chumrah. You hold Chatzi as a Knasa, if an animal eats something that's completely out of character for it, for sure there's no reason that Savoltach eingefallen to watch your animal from that. If you hold Chatzi as a Knasa, you pay it anyway. But if you hold Chatzi Nezek of Karen's Mamana, meaning you're only paying because it's the derech for the animal to do this. So if you find the case where it's not the derech for the animal, like in this example, you would be pottering Gansen. Have a told of the Karen. And every Karen is something that it's not the derech for that to happen. The Tavai Mushunamin. Avagav the Karen Kavanos Lahazik. So you have the Pashas is that if you hold Chatzi Nezek as Mamana, that's a chumrah. In this place, it comes out of kula because you're only mechuyev to pay for Karen if it's dark and lahazik. If you find something that's for sure not derech, like this crazy case of a little animal eating a huge animal, that would be potter in Gansen.
Like in the Mishnah from the Sada Shuvah, it says only shedarkom lehazik. So if it's not dark on lehazik.
Well, even if you hold Chatzi Nezek Kenosahu, it's still called dark and lahazik.
Right, but by moment. If you say if it's momentus.
No, even if you hold Chatzi Nezek Kenosahu, the Mishnah still says dark and lahazik. We learned when we learned the Mishnah that there's many different levels of dark and lahazik. Like a mood is even more dark and lahazik. But even a tam, even if it's Kenosahu and it's B'ches Kashimer, you could still refer to as dark and lahazik. The tafas loy mafkinim zok toisus. Aimer etam dafka I tafas hamazik atzma. Go in kela vayashunra. Ka'amar loy mafkina. The only time we say that if the nizik seizes something of the mazik, he can keep it. That's only if he sees the menace, the thing that caused the damage. The b'mazik he kilu chachamim sheyuchal lahaksak boy im lokchai b'shaseh. Dafka the dover that was mazik. Dafka that, to the Chachamim say, will allow you to make tfisa. But you cannot go seize your friend's Rolex if his animal shtoist your animal. But you know why? If a Nezek can seize anything of a mazik, it could be a disaster. Why? If your animal stoishes my animal, I'm going to go to your house. I'm going to ransack your house. I'm going to take hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of goods, and you have no recourse. You have no recourse. Because what are you going to tell me? You have no right to take it. It's Knas. I'll say, sorry, the ain't unudon and dine Knasis. Sorry, this is a Shiloh dine Knasis, and I can keep whatever I want because Maybe it's a Knas. You say the Knas isn't so big, oh, then we got to go to Bezdin. But there is no Bezdin that can pass on it. So that's also an interesting twist. That ain't on the Knas, it doesn't just put the victim, on the downside. It's not only the Nezek Yad al Tachtoina. If the Nezek would be able to be Toifis Nechasim, then the Mazik would be al Tachtoina because he can't go to Bezdin to limit the amount that he owes. So therefore, we only allow the Nezek to be Toifis nowadays, even though it's a Knas, we only allow him to be Toifis the actual animal that damaged it. Zok the Gemara weiter. Chamisha Tamin v'chamisha Muad. There's 2 Tamin and there's 5 cases of Tam and there's 5 Muad. So let's have a look. Habehema Eina Muedes Loy Ligach. These are all told us of Karen that we learned. Loy Ligach v'loy Ligoif. Not the shtois, not the push. V'loy Lashach, not the bite. V'loy Lirvois, not to sit down on Caleb and break them. V'loy Livoit, and not to kick. So those are the Tamin. The 5 toilets of Karen are the 5 things that's a Tam. Now let's list off the 5 Muad. Hashen Muadis Lechel Esaroyalo. Hashen is a muad to eat what it normally eats. Haregel Muadis Lishbar B'der Chilucha. Regel is a muad to break as it's walking. V'shar muad. It's interesting. Rashi points out by shar muad it doesn't say shar muad to logo floshich. It all lists it off as one thing because Rashi says what made it into a muad, the Eidim that said Eidim that he did it before. So even though it's just 5 different ways of a tam, the muad is only one way through an aid. So it's only counted as one. So shar muad is example number 3. V'shar hamazik v'shus hanizik. We say that's always a muad, right? Even according to Reb Tarfon, even a tam, a shar tam that shtoises b'shus hanizik pays nezek shalim. V'ha'adam, and a person always pays nezek shalim. Rashi speaks out. Isn't shar and bar also mu'adim? So Rashi, yes, they are. But the Mishnah is only listing Balei Chayim. Okay, Zok the Gemara weiter. Hazev v'ha'ari v'hadoiv v'hanomer v'habardalis v'hanachosh. Zev is a wolf, Ari is a lion, Doiv is a bear, Nomer is a leopard. Bardalis, does anybody know what a bardalis is?
It's a big machlokus.
So what are the options?
Some
The more will identify.
And the Urich with the picture, there's a whole bunch of.
But is it in the cat family?
There's some that are in the cat family.
Okay. V'hanachash and a snake. Hari'elu mu'adim. These are mu'adim. We're going to have to understand why aren't they listed as additional mu'adim? So then there's 10 mu'adim. We'll see that later. If they're trained, even these animals, you can train a bear, and you can train a lion, and you can train a wolf, and you can train a leopard and a bardalis. They can all be trained. They can be domesticated. Then we'll say that they're not a mood. But the only animal that can never be trained is a nachash. A nachash is always considered a mood.
The famous story with the Yehudi, the cat.
With the cat?
Yeah.
Yeah, with the cat. That's right. But Vaisachas, a cat you could train. Avada, if you provoke it, then yeah, it's going to be a mood. But to a certain nachash, you can't even train that much. Okay, Zok to Gemara. Midigatani Hashem mu'edis lechel. The Tana tells us that Hashem is a mu'ed because it's a mu'ed to eat its normal food. Michlal the b'chatra nizik askina. It must be that the discussion here is b'chatra nizik because of course Shane is only chai of b'chatra nizik. And then it says the katani behema enim others l'shalom kulei avachati nizik m'shalemes. Even though we're talking in the Rishus HaNizik, that's the setting of the Mishnah. Nevertheless, we said that all these 5 Tamin only pay Chati Nezek. Who holds that Karen, Rishus HaNizik, even a Tam, only pays Chati Nezek?
In the Mishnah.
Mani Rabbanani. I'm sorry?
Okay, the Gemara is going to ask a question.
Mani Rabbanani, the Amar Meshuna Karen, V'chatzara Nizik, Chati Nezek Kudim Mishalach. Pek more Emeseifa. Shar Hamuad, V'shar Mazik, b'shus hanizik b'yada. And there we're saying v'shar mazik b'shus hanizik is even a tam b'shus hanizik pays nizik shalom. That's also in the Reb Tarfon. The Amar Mishuna Karen b'chatzar nizik nizik shalom under Mishalom. Fact Gemara Reisha Rabbanon the Sefer of Tarfon, which we actually had just yesterday. Zaktamar in, as a matter of fact, yes. The Amar Le Shmuel Rabbi Yehuda Shinina, smart one, sharp one, Shavoit Mas Nisin. Don't continue to huddle over the Mishnah to figure out pshat. V'sabasroi, listen to my pshat, and my pshat is Reisha Rabbanon the Sefer of Tarfon. Beautiful. Rabbi Lazar Mishmei the Rav Amar. Rabbi Lazar, in the name of Rav, wanted to say that the really Dr. Gemara Kula Reb Tarfon. Let me turn the daf over. Kula Reb Tarfon. Reb Tarfon Reisha bechatzar hamayuchedes leperis. The Reisha was speaking by a chatzar where legabe peris leechad mehen. It was only allowed to be used for peris by one part. So legabe peris, it's considered a rishus hayachid. But v'lazev l'shvarim. But both partners had a right to bring their oxen, and therefore this rishus legabe shein is rishus hanizik, but legabe keren it's rishus of both of them. Legabe shein have lechatzer hanizik, legabe keren have rishus harabim. Now, of course, this will only work according to Reb Zera before, who holds that ubir b'steyacher, it doesn't matter if my ox has a right to be there. If I don't have a right to keep perish there, it's called a steyacher. According to Abai, this would not stand. Okay, let's stop here. And Be'ez Hashem, we will be mamshech tomorrow. So tomorrow at 3:25, we have a very special, very entertaining, very geschmacke Magid Shir, and I'll say Shir Matzah Shabbos on Zoom with the Neder at 7 o'clock.
Hyping it up so much, you're setting him up.
You better make sure that
I'm very confident that you will not be disappointed. He's a very fun guy.
Shabbos.
And Shabbos, he